What's up, guys? Static in the Attic. Let me show you guys what the scientists out there just found, this lost continent of Zealandia, and then we'll see what they've got to say about it, and then we'll look at local legends from the Aborigines in Australia. Scientists have just returned from a major expedition to Zealandia, a hidden Earth continent likely submerged beneath the sea surface more than 80 million years ago. Sure. A team of 32 scientists from 12 countries returned last week, blah, blah. The mostly submerged or hidden continent is an elevated part of the ocean floor, about 2/3 the size of Australia. It's big. Located between New Zealand and New Caledonia. Scientists said earlier this year that they thought Zealandia should be recognized as a full-fledged Earth continent. Yet little is known about Zealandia because it's submerged about 2/3 of a mile, more than a kilometer, under the sea. Until now, the region has been sparsely surveyed and sampled. Guys, there's Doggerland that used to connect England to France. What else? Atlantis, the island of California. Yeah, so all kinds of weird stuff has happened on this Earth. Scientists taking part in the expedition drilled in, and they found more than 8,000 specimens. Several hundred fossilized species were identified, and these are microscopic shells that live in shallow waters and spores and pollen from land plants. So let's go with that. Let's say that that's what happened for sure, because the scientists these days know everything, right? That this was 80 million years ago. So they also said that new discoveries show that the Pacific Ocean's encircling ring of fire, where there are frequent earthquakes and powerful volcanic eruptions, had a role in causing Zealandia's submersion beneath the ocean waves. All right, let's just pair this up with a completely different story real quick, okay? Let's look at Lake Van, Turkey. They say it's the ruins of a 3,000-year-old Armenian castle found in Lake Van. The castle is said to belong to the Iron Age Armenian civilization known as the Kingdom of Van Ur-2, and the lake itself is believed to have been formed by a crater caused by a volcanic eruption of Mount Nimrut right next door. And they say that the current water level of the reservoir is about 150 meters higher than it was during the Iron Age. So I think what they're getting at there is that the ruins were 150 meters below water, because I looked up the overall depth and it's at 1,400 meters. So volcanic eruption, collapse of ground, quite possible. But get this. Legends among the area's population spoke of ancient ruins hidden in the water, and the Van team decided to investigate. Now, there's ancient legends saying that there's a castle out there, there's a city out there. And then they went out looking for one of these legendary places, and it was actually there. I've also pointed, I can't remember the name of it, but up in northern Russia, Old Tataria, there was one of these. Then they go on to say the castle, as well as a number of villages and settlements in the area, were built at the time when water levels were much lower than they are today. Many civilizations and people had settled around Lake Van. So with this belief in mind, we are working to reveal its lake's secret, and it is miraculous to find this castle underwater. And then they go on to describe the civilization. But guys, they date the fall of this civilization at 1300 BC. Well, it just so happens that that was the fall of the Mycenaeans way over in the Mediterranean, right in the same time. And I've watched a lecture on it. They call it zipper earthquakes, and it's just earthquake after another moving down the fault line, building up pressure. And then I don't remember the exact timeline, but they attributed all of these zipper earthquakes all the way back to the 13th century BC over here in the Mediterranean. And it just so happens that right around the same time, a castle on inland Turkey sank beneath the waves, and they still have legends of this. So now let's go back and look at Zealandia. Now, I don't know what time frame this happened in. I can't pronounce the name of this tribe, so I'm just going to spell it on the screen there. But according to Traditional Cosmology 4, Global Mythology of Cosmic Creation, this tribe of the regions of Coff Harbour, New South Wales, Australia, attributed the formation of islands to the Great Deluge. And they quote as saying, one time all the land in the world was joined up in one big country. The big flood came and the world was covered. As the water began to go down, the streams and currents of water divided the land up into islands. And also a related tradition is reported from the Bundjalung, the coastal region of south of Brisbane. According to this, the mountains and islands between Australia and India were only formed after a deluge of sorts had removed all the original land bridge. So they're saying that there was a land bridge all the way from Australia to India in their anthropological tales of things. The Aborigines used to go over and fight the Indians and come back again. The old people said that the people they fought had kind of a turban on their heads, and that when they were fighting, you'd see this turban thing slip off and you'd see their long hair all fall down backwards. Well, these Aborigines finished their war over on the other side. They started on their way back, and when they got along a bit, they saw just one mass of water. The Bulagan was with them. He made the mountains and islands rise out of the water. These are the Aboriginals of Australia that we're talking about here, folks. And they're talking about walking up to India and fighting. And now, the latest and greatest scientific research out there is showing that we have Zealandia off the East Coast. And according to Expedition Co-Chief Scientist Rupert Sutherland of Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand, said researchers had believed that Zealandia was submerged when it separated from Australia and Antarctica about 80 million years ago. Then he's quoted further as saying, that's probably still accurate, but now it's a clear dramatic ladder event shaped the continent we explored on the voyage. Big geographic changes across northern Zealandia, which is about the same size as India, have implications for understanding questions such as how plants and animals dispersed and evolved, and all of the scientific mumbo jumbo there. But I don't know, guys. It seems to me like I keep finding that the scientists know about the Lake Connibus that was there, but they say it was 80 million years ago. Just like Zealandia, they seem to understand that it was above water. They went out and what first prompted them to do a bunch of, well, I guess core sample drilling for oil, and they found pollen or something. But it's just amazing that we have all of this, these continents underwater. And in this case, the Aboriginals talk about the land being there, talk about not on the east side of the island, but saying that they could walk straight up to India and fight men in turbans. You got that on one side of the coin, and then you got 80 million years on the other side of the coin. I've been pointing out that great catastrophic climatic shifts seem to happen really fast. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around the extent of these, And then, like I said, over in Lake Van in Turkey, you've got a castle under 150 meters of water right at the same time as the fall of the Mycenaean culture. So just do the math on that. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves out there. Static out.